Flosstube. My name is Lunar of Lunar Witch Stitchery. My pronouns are they, them. I hope that you're all doing great today. I have what is probably going to be a very long Flosstube episode for you all today, so I hope you're ready. Strap in. I do have quite a bit of life update stuff to go over before we get into my Flosstube. I like to do this first just because I feel like it gives some context for some of the rest of the things I talk about. So if you don't want to listen to all of my personal stuff, I will leave chapters in the video bar, so you should just be able to click ahead to my WIP stuff if you don't want to listen to me ramble. May has been crazy so far. Today when I'm filming is Friday the 19th. You guys probably won't be seeing this until Monday. I have a lot going on this weekend, and I really wanted to get this video ready to go, just since I have such a massive amount of progress to share with you guys. We'll talk about it once we actually get into the WIP update, but I did an event, a stitching event this month, so we have an awful lot to go over. But my personal life has been pretty busy as well. At my job, we had a huge event. Twice a year we do a really large scale event that I am in charge of planning. So that's always a really stressful time for me. That was the first weekend in May, so I've had some time now to kind of decompress after that. But yeah, it went pretty smoothly this year. Last year, if you guys have been around my channel since then, I think I talked about this last year too, but we had some really horrible weather last year, and it was a bit of a disaster. This year it was a little bit rainy, but it was just kind of sprinkling on and off, so it was not nearly as bad. It was a really fun time, and yes, I am also glad that it's over, so I just don't have to worry about it anymore. I around the market time, I don't remember when it was, I actually this sounds really dramatic. I almost died, actually. I have a tree nut allergy, and I went to a local coffee shop sometime a couple days after the market event for my work. And I was like, I'm having a shitty day. I feel bad. I'm going to get a coffee, and I'm going to get my favorite pastry, which is a little raspberry Danish thing. They did not have any raspberry danishes that day, so the lady at the drive-thru was like, well, we have this, or we have a chocolate croissant. And I was like, that sounds awesome. I love chocolate croissants. I get them all the time. Well, lo and behold, I get home and I take a bite out of it, and it's filled with Nutella, which, if you don't know, Nutella is a chocolate hazelnut spread, and I'm very allergic to hazelnuts. So thankfully I was able to take care of that reaction. I called my fiance to let him know what happened. He was very concerned for me, but everything is fine. I didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that. I hardly ate any. I did start reacting right away. Sometimes when I eat new baked goods, even if I know I'm not allergic to them, my mouth will still get a little bit tingly because my brain is like, what if there's nuts in this? Even if there isn't. So I thought that that's what was happening, but then my tongue started to swell up, and I was like, oh no, this is an actual reaction and I need to go take medication. So yes, that was really fun. Last weekend wasn't super eventful. This coming weekend though, my best friend is moving. So we're going to be helping them move. That's tomorrow. And then Sunday I am visiting my parents, and we're doing some repairs on my car. We're going out for a late birthday dinner for me. My birthday was 6 weeks ago. Yeah. And so that's why I'm filming this today, because I just have a lot going on this weekend. But yeah, there's a lot happening in my life. Other than those major-ish life events, I have just kind of been doing a lot around the house. Honestly, this stitching event has made me feel pretty productive. I don't know, even outside of my stitching stuff, I've just been doing a lot. One thing that's been really cool is one of the vendors at the market for my job actually gave us a present. There's some vendors that like feel the need to give us presents, which is really, really unnecessary. It's really sweet and we do appreciate it, but it's like, you really don't need to do this. But he did woodworking and he brought in this like huge shelf and was like, I want you guys to have this. You've been really awesome. And my boss, after he left, my boss was like, I don't have anywhere to put this. And I was like, I do, I want it. So Ruben and I have been working on like setting up our little living room altar. We've got spaces for like our little deities and stuff. My half of it is nowhere near finished. Ruben's is a little bit further along than mine, but yeah, that was really sweet. I did like a little painting for it. I thought that was pretty fun. Yeah. I've also just been doing a lot of work around the house. Ruben has been weeding our garden beds. We rent this place, but we're going into our 3rd year renting here and we're like, all right, listen, we need to get these weeds under control. The last tenants were, I believe, some college-age girls, and from what the landlord has said, they really did not keep up with the yard work, even though it's in our lease that we're supposed to. So it's been really overwhelming. We have, like, the past couple years, we pretty much just kept it to, like, well, our lawn is not, like, actively overgrown, so that's good. But this year, we're really trying to, like, grow things. So Ruben's been weeding. I got to change our air filter out, which doesn't seem like a big thing, but it is a big thing because it's like a whole event to get to the place where our air filter is in our creepy, like unfinished cellar basement. So that was fun. That's like a 30 to 45 minute excursion. We also got fiber optic internet installed, which is awesome. I love it so much, but the man had to come to our house and like drill a hole through our wall and, all that stuff. So that was so fun, but it was totally worth it. I have been absolutely in love with our new internet. I've also been doing a teeny tiny bit of sewing, which you guys will see as we get into my WIP update, which will be now. I know it seems like I don't need caffeine tonight, but I'm actually exhausted. So I have some black tea, Assam, and this is a mug from my favorite independent horror movie called Bad Ben. I talked about it once in a Stitch With Me. Okay, if you did not just watch my life update, there's a lot to talk about today. Like I said, I have been doing a sort of stitchy event this month. I've kind of taken a few ideas and like just done my own thing. So as a lot of you guys know, Mania used to be a thing in the Flosstube community. It kind of still is around a little bit, but not in any sort of official capacity. But the idea was that you start a new project for every day in May. Some people would do like a new project every weekend or, something like that. And personally, I don't need any help starting new projects. That's something that I can do plenty well on my own, and I certainly don't need to start 30 new projects. Yeah, so instead of doing that, I took Rachel Ray's idea that she did last year. She called it Maystravaganza, and she did what she called WIP sprints. So she took each of her WIPs and she worked on them for like 30 minutes or something. And she has like more than double the number of WIPs that I do. So I thought for myself, it would be cool to work on all of my WIPs for like a whole day each. So that's what I've done. I have an awful lot to talk about. Plus I have done some sewing as well, which is relevant to this channel. So we will be talking about that. So first off, I kind of like reevaluated my stitchy organization system. There are these project tracker cards that some people use. I believe they're by like S-Word Designs on Etsy, and I have used those in the past, but I found that really the only information I was using them for was like my project stats, like start date, fabric count, stuff like that. And I wasn't actually using the tracker part of like checking off which days I was working on the pieces. So to kind of streamline things, I decided to make little index cards for all of my WIPs. So I've got a whole bunch of them. So we'll use, what's a good one to use as an example here? I think Bohemia might be a good one. So on the front, I just used some markers to write out the name of the piece, and then on the back, I included a whole bunch of information. So I've got the designer that it's from, which in this case is Gecko Rouge. If there is a different artist who did the art, I included that. So this one is Medusa Dollmaker. Fabric count, the stitch coverage, the start date, my needle minders, what Etsy shop they're from, because I often forget that. And then if I started them for like an event or something, I included that on the bottom of the card as well. So this was my birthday new start for last year. These index cards are going to be going in project bags with each of the pieces. But I had them out because I was actually using these cards to pick my project each day. So I was shuffling these up, spreading them out all over my bed, and then picking one. So the order in which I worked on my projects for this Maystravaganza thing were mostly random. So the very first WIP that I worked on was one that I chose to work on. This is one that a lot of you guys probably forgot about or don't know about. And I will give a warning here that this is an 18 plus work in progress piece. Well, they're actually finishes now. Surprise! I had a bunch of tiny finishes. So if you do not want to listen to me talk pretty explicitly about adult toys, feel free to skip ahead. I will leave a little time here. You can safely skip ahead and you will not hear me talking about 18 plus content. For those of you who do want to know about the penis WIPs, I know some of you guys have been asking about them. These kind of went on the back burner for quite some time. Before this event, I was like, well, they're technically on my WIP list. So why don't I just sit down and finish them? So I did. I went through and I picked colors for all of these little wieners and I stitched them all up. I am super happy with how all of them came out. If you don't know, I did design all of these little sex toys myself. They are based off of the toys that we actually own. And that's because I'm actually using them as bag charms. So that was another project that I was working on, was actually making the silk bags for our silicone toys. If you guys are avid toy people like my partner and I are, you might know that storing silicone toys next to each other is really, really bad for them. Over time, they can actually stick together, and then trying to peel them apart is really bad for the actual surface of the silicone. So it's best to store them separately or in some sort of soft fabric. So I had a silk blend that I used for a costume I don't know, 6 years ago. And I had a whole bunch of it left, and I thought that it would be a really good vessel for this project. So I sewed up all these little drawstring bags, and then when I was done with that, I took my little charms, cut them out of the plastic grid mesh. I added a jump ring, and then I attached that to the bag. And you guys should be seeing what that looks like here. They are all properly put away right now, so I'm not going to go dig them out, but I am super happy with how they came out. My partner really liked them too. I sent them to my friends and they really liked them. So I'm really happy with that. And it feels good to have a finish, even though it's, just a bunch of little tiny stitches, but it feels good nonetheless to have that off of my plate. All right, hello, we are done talking about the 18 plus stuff. So now we will be talking about all of my WIPs that you guys are probably more used to seeing. So my 18 plus WIP I worked on May 3rd, and then for May 4th, the project that I drew to work on was actually my fox piece. So this piece has been like in jail, as I keep saying, for quite some time. I worked on it a whole bunch at the end of last year. I really wanted to finish it, and then I didn't, and then after that I got super like burnt out from how long I spent on it. Aside from that, the person that this was supposed to be a gift for, not to like air out my dirty laundry or anything, but we had like kind of a falling out with this person. That's a little bit dramatic for what happened, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to give them this anymore. Like, they're still in our life, but not to the same capacity that they used to be. So that also kind of played into it, where I'm like, well, now I don't know what I'm going to do with this piece. So I just didn't work on it for a while. But with all that being said, I am really, really close to a finish on this piece. So here is where I was at the last time you folks saw it. And then this is where I was able to get to during the Maystravaganza event. So I will say that this is slightly misleading. I actually did a total of, I think 4 sittings of work on this. I worked on this for May 4th and 5th. I decided to give this 2 days because I had a little over 1,000 stitches left on it, and I was like, I wonder if I could do this in like 2 days. I couldn't. So I did it for May 4th and 5th. I did pull it out another day after I got tired on working on a full coverage piece, and then I worked on it a little bit today as well. So here is where we are. As you can see, I am literally so close. Pattern Keeper says that this is 95.81%. I have a little under 500 stitches left to go. So in the past couple weeks, I've done probably about 700 stitches on this, which is pretty good. So yeah, I still don't really know what's going to happen to this piece once I finish it. But it is very close to being finished nonetheless, so I'm sure it will find a home to go to. Honestly, after I film, I'm probably going to work on that some more. I'm really hoping to have that done and out of the way maybe by the end of May. I think that would be really nice. This is being stitched 3/1 on 14 count off-white Aida, and the pattern is by I think Llama Cross Stitch on Etsy. So next up, this is probably the only project that I'm a little bit disappointed in how much work I did on it. This is the That Which Does Not Kill Us stitch along by the Urban Stitches. And I can show you exactly what I did. So I did these little mushrooms that are at the bottom of the piece. And that is literally it. So this is what the full piece is looking like at the moment. Yeah, I think the day that I worked on these, I had a migraine or something, and I was like not in the mood to do back stitching. But I thought the mushrooms were cute, so I was like, I'll do those. And then they turned out to be a pain in the ass. And so I finished the mushrooms and I was like, I'm putting this away and I'm not going to think about it anymore today. So that is unfortunately all I was able to do on this piece. This is another one where I am hoping for a finish on it this year. This is a black work stitch along. The stitch along ended about a year ago, last summer. And I'm doing this with 1 strand on 14 count coffee dyed Aida that I dyed myself. I'm not really sure when that project will come back out. Like I said, I do want to finish it, but yeah, it was a really big headache the last time I worked on it. If you're curious, I worked on this on May 7th. May 6th is conspicuously missing, and that's because I had that huge work event that day. So I didn't do any work on May 6th. Okay, the next project, I feel like I have a fair bit to talk about with this. May 8th, I worked on Odile. This is charted by Make It Pink, but the original art is by Hannah Alexander. Yeah, here is where she was at the last time you guys saw her. And this is where I was able to get to during Maystravaganza. So I have worked my way all the way over to this little red section that I had kind of like parked before. Let me take her out of the bag. There she is in all of her glory. her very incomplete glory. This is 8.42%. I didn't do a ton. I think I was like over here last time and I just worked my way over. The reason I did that is because there's a ton of mistakes in this brown section in the middle, and I knew that back like when I had first started trying to do the red, I had started it right here. I found a mistake. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just moved on and went over into this thing. So I decided, you know, that's really one of the big things keeping me from working on this piece, is that I know that that mistake is there and I don't know what to do with it. So I fixed it. I have fixed this piece. I fudged it. You really cannot tell at all. I don't even remember where the mistake was, honestly. But yes, basically I just worked like one length of each color into the fabric, just so that I had enough to work my way over to that little chunk. I think I only did like 300 or so stitches on this on that day. This is being done 2/2 on 36 count Rose Murda opalescent linen from Under the Sea Fabrics. But yeah, now that she is not in a state of disrepair, she actually isn't too bad to work on. For a while, this was kind of like my nemesis piece, where I was like, I feel like this piece and I have like beef or something. But it doesn't feel like that anymore. And honestly, I'm looking at like all my WIPs around me, she's probably the one I want to work on the most right now, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't say she's my favorite piece, but I really want to see some good progress on her. Yeah. All right, my camera has a habit of getting too hot after about 30 minutes of filming, and we're starting to come up on that. So just so I don't get interrupted, I'm going to take a quick break here and let my camera cool off, and then we will be back with a lot more to talk about. Okay, hello, I'm back after like a 15-minute cooling off period. So I'm back to talk at length about my cross stitches. So next up, on May 9th, I worked on my Pokemon Kanto sprites piece, my Gen 1 sprites. Some big changes with this piece. First of all, I dropped it. It's not on a scroll frame anymore. So I talked about this last time, that I was thinking about pulling it off of the scroll frame. I'm really happy that I did that. I had a way better time stitching on this. Yeah, I will say that this piece is very large, so so that's the bottom and all the way up. When I hold this up, when I'm standing, I'm 5'6", and it's not quite as tall as me. I would say this is probably about like, I don't know, 5 feet long, but it is large. This is being stitched on 14 count, so if I had chosen a smaller count, it wouldn't be so large. But when I started this piece, I didn't know about other fabric counts. So I did, I believe, like 6 outlines, I think. Let me see here. So I did, oh my god, this is so like unwieldy, whatever that word is. I think I did like Zubat, Golbat, and Oddish, which are these 3. And then I did the I did the Nidoran male line. So Nidoran, Nidorino, and Nidoking. And then I'm taking my needle minder away. I did Ekans and Arbok. However, okay, so we need to talk about Nidoking. Oh my god. So I got to almost the end on this guy and my stitches weren't lining up, and I realized I made a mistake all the way back at the beginning. So I had to stitch this guy twice pretty much, like all the way through. After that, I moved up to do this guy, no issues. I went over to Arbok and I found, again, when I got to the end of it, the stitches weren't lining up. This was like the 7th or 8th sprite outline that I had done that day, and I was like, you know what, fuck this. This sucks. I'm not gonna, I'm not frogging this again, so I put it away. If you guys can tell, I only have 4 outlines left, plus I need to fix Arbok still. I don't really know what his deal is. But I'm really close to being done with all the outlines, and then I'm just gonna start going, you know, one by one, filling them in with color, and that'll be that. I'm really excited for this piece to be done. It is really cool to, you know, see it all together, since it has been on a scroll frame for almost 2 years. You know, I haven't really gotten a good idea of what it kind of all looks like. Obviously, I know because I've seen the pattern picture, but it's different to see it in real life. I do really, really want to run this through my serger, but I did not leave myself near enough space on the edges of this piece. I was really new to doing big cross stitches like this, and I just like didn't know what I was doing. I started that, like I said, about 2 years ago. So, if you're new to my channel, I have been cross stitching for about 15 years, but I haven't, at that time I hadn't done a lot of like internet purchased patterns. Excuse me. I'd done a lot of like self-charted ones, and some kits and some smaller things, but this is the first really big undertaking that I did, and I definitely did not leave myself enough space. So you live and you learn. But I think I just smeared my lipstick. I guess we're fine. Anyway, that really needs to go through the serger because it is fraying like crazy, but I'm afraid that I'm gonna cut off too much. So that's that. I've talked for like 5 minutes on just this one piece, so that's awesome. May 10th, I worked on probably my favorite piece. This is Princess Serenity, charted by Make It Pink, original art by Hannah Alexander. Honestly, I didn't do too much work on this piece. It feels really weird to say that because, like I said, she's pretty much my favorite, so the past 6-ish months since I started her, I have been focusing on her real hard, but yeah, she didn't really get too much work. It looks like she got about 250 stitches, which is a really small day of work for me, on this piece anyway. So here's where she was the last time I showed her to you guys, and this is where she is at now. So I pretty much reached the bottom of this section. I think I have 2 tiny rows left down here, and then after that I'm going to be moving my Q-snap. The dress goes pretty far in this direction, so I want to be sure that I have enough space so I don't have to keep moving it all around. So that's why I did this little section, because I knew it was going to be under my Q-snap, so I just wanted to get it out of the way. She is in a new project bag. We're going to talk about that later, so pretend you did not see that. That is putting her at 31.66%, which is 16,815 stitches. So not the best, not the worst. May 11th, I got my first full coverage piece, finally, out of all my WIPs. So this is Magic Study. This is the rainbow version. The original art is a limited edition chart that I do not have. Actually, now that time has passed, I actually like the rainbow version better anyway. I have it in max color. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So yeah, I'm really, really, really excited to show you guys my progress on this. So here's where I was last time. And then this is where I got to. Oh my gosh, look at that. There's like a single little purple ball up there. I'm so proud of this. So, as you guys can tell, I have started parking on this piece as well. A couple weeks ago when I was working on a different full coverage piece, I tried doing diagonal cross country and then parking the color in the next diagonal over when I was done, and I found that I really liked it. It helped me because I was struggling with these full coverage pieces to pick what color to do, because there's just all these tiny stitches of like 5 colors in one area, and it was just kind of overwhelming since I didn't really have a set area I was working on when I was just doing cross country however I wanted. So narrowing it down to a 10 stitch wide diagonal has been very helpful. So I did, when I first picked this up, I did another color in the butterfly and I was like, yo, I think I hate this. So that's when I switched to the diagonal parking. And again, I'm really happy that I did. I'm so excited to be able to actually see like some of the solid picture coming through. There is an awful lot of confetti in this piece with it being a max color. There's almost 300 colors in this piece. Also, this piece is about 450,000 stitches, so this is a massive undertaking. If you didn't know, this is a whopping 0.5%. I am really, really proud that I was able to get it up so much. I almost doubled my progress. Not quite, but almost. This is 2,211 stitches, so that's pretty good. I did a lot on the full coverage pieces that I'll be covering. Yeah, when I showed my partner this, he was like, are those threads all different colors? And I was like, yes, bestie. There's so many. So, yeah. For me, I think I found that working the confetti in first is a little bit easier. I've had some people say that they like doing the background color first because you have more stitches to work off of, but for whatever reason, it's easier for me to do the confetti first and then fill in behind it. So that's what I did in that diagonal. I did all of the little tiny little confettis and those little purple balls. I think they're supposed to be like lights, like little fairy lights or something. I'm not totally sure, but yes. This is being done 2/1/10 stitch on 28 count even weave. We will be talking about 10th stitch more on different projects. I've been having some thoughts about it. I will say though, on this piece, I am planning to continue with the 10th stitch despite any possible warping issues, just because this piece is so huge and the 10th stitch is really vital for me on this because of how big it is. So I am going to be sticking to 10th, well, it's like half stitch. I'm a really bad stitcher in that I'm not doing like a consistent 10th stitch on this, but half stitch is what I am doing on this. That day too, was the day that I pulled my fox out. So I did a ton of stitches on Magic Study, but once I got to the end of that diagonal, I felt like I was at a good stopping point, so I pulled my fox out for a little bit after I was done with that. Next up, on May 12th, was my Precious Moments Noah's Ark piece. If you're not familiar, this is a piece that my mom started for it was like a birth announcement, birth commemorative piece. So she started it. I'm 25. She started it before I was born, so probably 1997. This boy old. This piece is old. She did all of the full cross. I am finishing the back stitch for her just because she can't stitch anymore. So here is where it was at the last time you guys saw it. And this is where I got to this time. I believe I finished the second frog and both of the hippos. So not too shabby. I don't know what my issue was the last time I was working on this piece. I got really upset at it and I thought it was horrible and I never wanted to touch it again. And this time I had no issues. So I really think that I just need to not drink alcohol when I work on this piece in particular. I usually don't drink when I stitch in general, but For some reason, this piece just really does not mix well with wine. So, noted. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. I'm really hoping to have this done this year. I'm getting pretty close. I'm probably about, I don't know, like between halfway and 2/3 of the way done. So yeah, I'm excited to be done. All right, after that, we had Sailor Uranus. This is another chart by Make It Pink and Hannah Alexander. I recently started this piece as a birthday new start for the year, so she does not have a ton of progress. There's a cat hair flying. So here's where she was at last time, and then this is where I was able to get to this time. I worked some more of her skin. Yes, this dark purple is skin. And then I started on the dark blue of her bodysuit. Her skin, I'm doing over 1. I'm doing it 2 over 1/2 stitch because there are a lot of blends in this pattern, and it just makes more sense for me to do it that way. Also, the rest of this is being done 2 over 2. This is 36 count linen in the shade Junebug from Fabrics by Stephanie. But anyway, the times that you have to switch from doing full cross to doing fractional stitches, it's easier for me personally to just do a 1/2 stitch instead of switching to like trying to do 1 strand full cross. So that's why I'm doing that. But anyway, pretty happy with how that's looking. I'm not sure when she will see the light of day again because she's not my focus piece from this designer. Obviously, I have 2 others, Odile and Serenity, that I am prioritizing over her, but let me grab a percentage. She is 0.66%, so obviously still a ways to go on her, but it was kind of nice to pull that piece out again because I didn't really think I would be touching it for the foreseeable future. All right, after Uranus, on May 18th, I drew out my Dark Queen of the Earth. So she has had a little bit of extra work done. So the Dark Queen of the Earth by Autumn Lane Stitchery, she is my current focus piece. This is a sal that I'm trying to keep up to date on. I am pretty almost up to date. Well, I say that, but I have an awful lot of over 1 skin left to do. So, but I do have parts 1 through 7 fully complete. Part 8, I'm just waiting on some hair. And then part 9, I haven't done too much of. But anyway, I will warn you before I show her that I am doing the bare-chested version. So if that's not something that you want to have on your screen, I will give you a timestamp here to skip ahead to the next WIP. So here's where she was at the last time I showed her on Flosstube. And then this is where she is now. Obviously her boobie is not yet fully filled in. But yeah, I think all I did was a little bit of over 1 skin, mostly in her titty area. I did some up here by her neck, and then I realized that before I worked down, I wanted to make sure that I had her boobie in place, because the Pattern Keeper version, which is what I use, doesn't have the bare-chested version, so I have to work off of the regular PDF for that. So that's mildly confusing for you guys, not for me, so sorry. But yes, like I said, I am stitching her skin over 1 over 1 full cross. This fabric is 32 count in the shade Nightshade from Under the Sea Fabrics. I will say this skin tone on this fabric has been a really big challenge for me. A couple of the colors, particularly the skin color that I have by her little neck thing right now, I can't remember what DMC number it is, but that color blends so much with this fabric. You can see it like when you're looking at it as a viewer, you're like, yep, that's her skin. but holy shit, it is the shadow color of her skin. So it's kind of all over the place, and it is so difficult. I sit right under my light, and honestly, the light makes the colors blend together even more. I have to use a light when I'm doing over one skin so I can see the holes better, but yeah, it's just been a struggle. So I'm not near as far as I would have liked, but that's fine. I am getting pretty close to being done with her boobie, and then we will move on. I have to do, part 9 is like her arms too. So I have a lot of over one stitching to do. I will definitely do my best to have this done by the end of May. I don't have high hopes. I also wanted to let you guys know, for her neck thing, I actually ripped out that back stitching and I redid it as couching instead, which is the same technique I used on her skirt. If you aren't familiar with that technique, I'm not really great at explaining it. I would suggest looking it up. It's couching, like the furniture couch, couching. It's kind of an alternative method to backstitching, and I find that it creates a smoother line. And when I was looking at her little neck bands, I just thought that they looked too subtle, too dashed, so pulled it out, redid it. Again, I did sub in the gold petite treasure braid that we're using. Elsewhere in the piece, it calls for regular DMC. So I just wanted to make you guys aware that I did redo that. But yeah, she needs to have more skin. And like I said, she doesn't have hair yet. We're still waiting on the alternate hair color pack from Aaron. He has been hard at work, so yeah, we're still waiting on that. I think I am going to be stitching her charted red hair, but I just want to make sure that I see all my options before I stitch that, because I would really hate to rip it out. It's a lot of stitching, and yeah. Okay, we're another 20 minutes in, and I really need to use the bathroom, so I'm going to let my camera have another break and use the bathroom, and I will be back once again to hopefully be closer to finishing this floss tube. Okay, everybody, we're back for round 3. Hopefully this is the last section I need to do. I went to the bathroom and realized I had lipstick all over my teeth. So sorry, that's super embarrassing. I hope I got it all. Let's continue. All right, May 15th, I worked on, if I could find it, there it is, my Kitsune stitch. So this is by Gecko Rouge, and the original art is by Scandy Girl. So here it is the last time you guys saw it. I just did a single row of like 90 stitches or something across the top, and then here is where I got to this time. So I started doing diagonal cross country on this as well. However, I'm in a massive white section, so besties, it doesn't look like anything. This is quite a few stitches too. I'm doing this 1/1 full cross on 28 count, and this is 0.46%, and it's about 500 stitches. So most of those 500 stitches I did the other day. I stitched and stitched until I could not take stitching any more white. Yeah, I will say, here's my pattern keeper. The green is white that I have not yet done. So I have, a couple more diagonals until I get to my first non-white, and it's like 4 stitches. So, but I will eventually get to a lot of not white sections, just not today, unfortunately. Not today, but that is my very exciting Kitsune piece. Yeah, I think that's it. The next day, I worked on my tarot stitch along. This is by Witch's Garden Crafts. This was a stitch along from last year, so this sal is complete. I'm pretty sure you can still buy it, but anyway, here's where it was the last time you guys saw it. I've only worked on it once before this, and then here's where I got to this time. I'm really happy with how that's looking, and how much I was able to get done. So I said this, there's so much cat hair everywhere. I think I said this at some point. I realized that I had actually started the wrong frame last time. And I realized that, and then I just didn't really pick it up again. So this time I did frog this and some of that and restitched it, and then I kept on trucking. So yes, I am doing this 2 strands on 18 count. I think this fabric is called Antique Daguerreotype, I believe. It was dyed and cut and made for the cell. And I subbed in Anchor Black instead of DMC 310. I really, really love how it looks. I think I am an Anchor Black convert, honestly. But yeah, that's that. Not too much to say on this. Yeah. The final piece that I worked on, but not the final piece I have to share. This is one of the most beloved pieces on my channel. This is Bohemia. I get a lot of people in my comments saying that they love this piece a lot. So I hope you guys have a good time with this. Bohemia is by Gecko Rouge, original art by Medusa Dollmaker. Yeah. What else? Here's where it was last time. And this is where I got to this time. Hooray! I feel like I did some pretty good progress on this. Numbers here, I am at 3.21%, so I'm super proud of that. Like I said, the diagonal cross-country parking, etc. has been really helpful for me. This is being done 2/1 half stitch on 25 count. I have noticed, I don't think you probably can't really tell. I have noticed a little bit of warping on this piece. I'm not sure if it is, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's because of the tent stitch or I did do this section 2/1 full cross, and then I just switched to tent stitch. There's cat hair in my lipstick. So I'm not really sure what's causing the issue. I did kind of panic about it. And I thought about switching to 1/1 full cross on this. But I think I'm just going to keep with the tent and see what happens, I guess. This piece, I mean, she is big. She's a big girl, you know. This is over 200,000 stitches, so it is sizable. But it's not as big as Magic Study, and I am planning on having her framed, so when she's framed, she will be stretched and pinned, so I don't think it'll be a huge problem, but I will say that after doing more 1/1 full cross for both skin and full coverage, I think that I do prefer doing 1/1 full cross. I don't know. I just think I like it better. So I think for full coverage and other stuff like that going forward, I'm going to be doing 1/1 full cross on 28 count. I don't really like stitching on 25 count. It's just kind of an awkward, weird size. But other than all that, again, I am so happy with how much progress I made. I've been doing a lot of this stuff. I think it's coming out really good. The diagonal that I'm currently working on, we're starting to hit the letter, the first letter in Bohemia, and there's also a little like yellow star over here, so I'm really excited to get to that. Yeah, I had a lot of fun working on this. I think I did well over 800 stitches on her the other day, which is really, really awesome. I have to say, before doing the Maystravaganza thing, I was wondering, like, do I even like doing full coverage? Like, it feels like a chore every time I have to pull it out. I, like, really struggle with seeing progress on it and feeling overwhelmed, but doing this Maystravaganza event has kind of converted me into a full coverage addict. I really like it. I think it's really fun. It's really relaxing. And I don't know. I like it a lot more than I thought that I did. So, in that same vein, to celebrate the completion of my Maystravaganza stitching event, and kind of as like a little homage to Stitch Mania's past, I decided to start a new full coverage project. This piece was one I didn't really know when or if. I knew I would do it at some point, but I didn't really know when this was going to be on the docket. This is Folk Witch. This is by Gecko Rouge and Medusa Dollmaker. And that is all I did. It's about 200 stitches. This does get into the actual design a bit quicker. As you can see, we're going to be hitting some leaves. I think it's only 4 diagonals that are full background. So I'm pretty excited about that. Bohemia is so much background. She's gorgeous, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. This is just kind of a chill little gal for me to do. I'm doing this 1/1 full cross on 28 count, like I said. And yeah, matching needle minder came with the kit. I'm not really sure when I will pull her out again, but yeah, it was fun to work on her last night. I really enjoyed it. That is, if you're curious, that is 0.12%. I am absolutely slaying. That is all I have for my WIP update. However, we are not done. So, haul. I did not make any new purchases, but as I talked about a little bit earlier when I showed you my Serenity piece, I almost whacked myself. I got my Sailor Moon fabric in. I've been waiting on this for about 6 weeks. They are custom printed to order, so I had to wait a while. But I'm super happy with it. It came out so cute. I love it. This is what the inside fabric looks like. Oh my god, I love it so much. I got this little moon stick charm as well to go on my zipper, and I did a pink zipper for it. I also went out and I got some thicker vinyl, and I'm really happy with that as well. I made a project bag for my partner out of fabric he picked a while ago. And yeah, I have a little extra of each of these fabrics. Definitely enough to make 1 more bag. I might be able to make 2 more. So I'm considering doing that for my Etsy shop, which I am still working on setting up. But that is all for haul. So plans. I want to quickly go back to full coverage for a second. So at the beginning of the year, I did a video about like my stitchy goals for the year. And I listed some pretty big goals for my full coverage pieces. And after, spending some time working on them, and we're almost halfway through the year, I think I want to amend those goals. My original goal was Bohemia at 10% and Magic Study at 5%. After actually looking at how many stitches that would be on each of them, I think I'm going to be doing 5% as my goal for Bohemia and like 2 to 3% as my goal for Magic Study. Even just 1% on Magic Study would be great. But I just don't think that those previous goals were realistic with how much other stuff I have going on. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I am amending those goals. Otherwise, I'm going to be working diligently on catching up on my Dark Queen of the Earth and doing all of that over one skin. I'm again also hoping for the hair pack to come out so that I can complete part 8. Part 10 will be coming out on June 1st, which is crazy. We have, I think part 10 and 11 are going to be our last like actual parts, and then I think part 12 is all backstitching and beads and stuff. So that's actually so exciting. Yeah. And now circling back to my Etsy stuff, I have a storefront now. Again, it is not open. I don't have anything listed, but it is set up, which is, you know, a whole thing in and of itself. I want to have the bags ready to ship. I don't want to do like made to order stuff. I would rather just list bags that I already have completed that I can just ship out immediately. So, in order to do that, I need to make project bags specifically for my Etsy shop. So, I would like to get like some zippers in bulk and like fusible fleece in bulk and stuff like that instead of buying like individual zippers because they are way, way, way cheaper to buy in bulk. So obviously that is a monetary investment that I need to get together. So I have not yet done that, but it is on my radar. Like I said, I do want to make another Sailor Moon bag. I do want my bag specifically, like with this charm and everything, to be one of a kind. So you won't be able to get one exactly like mine, unless you make it yourself, which like go off, I guess. But I won't be selling one that looks like mine. It'll be a little different. I'm also still needing to get like packaging to ship project bags. That is also important. And I need to figure out how I want to mail them. Yeah. I've also had passing thoughts about dyeing fabric to sell. I have in my notes, dye fabrics, question mark, scary. I don't really have experience with dyeing fabric for cross stitch. I do have a 10-year costuming background under my belt. I did it like, not professionally, I guess semi-professionally. I did work at a few different costume shops for college theaters in my day. So I do have quite a bit of experience with fabric dye and dyeing things, but I've never done it for cross stitch, and that's kind of a different thing. So I have been a little iffy on that. My camera is threatening to die. I have like 1 minute of talking left. Please, camera. Let me know if that would be something that you are interested in. It might be something I do a couple test dyes. I'm a little bit unsure of it too because I feel like the fabric dyeing market is really saturated. And I just like, it's not something I'm super passionate about like I am with project bags. So I'm not sure if that's something I would want to do. I don't know. I don't know how I could make my hand-dyed fabric different from like other fabric dyers. It's really easy for me to make different project bags because I make them big and I use fabric that is themed after things that I like, you know, like kind of spooky stuff, goth stuff, cats, anime, Sailor Moon, whatever. But you can't really do that with fabric dye. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that is finally everything. My audio recording is at 1 hour and 5 minutes, so this is certainly a marathon of a video. Please let me know if you guys would still be interested in a mid-year WIP parade in July, or end of June, early July. I've been kind of tossing up about it because like this is almost like a WIP parade pretty much. Like I showed you every single one of my WIPs. So I don't know if you'd want to see that again so soon. I have absolutely no problem making a WIP parade in July if that's something y'all want to see. But yeah, I don't know. Just let me know. Otherwise, my next WIP parade will be at the end of 2023 in like December. So yeah, I hope that y'all are doing well. Let me know what you guys stitched on during this video, if anything. And yeah, I will see you guys, I don't know, in a few weeks. Bye!